Hi everybody. What you're looking at today is kind of a project I've taken on. This is an old Better-Bilt Honeywagon. Yeah, the original owner said it was an 1100 gallon, which seems about right by the size of it, but he didn't want it anymore. He hadn't used it in about 25 years and it just sat outside, and he just wanted to haul it off basically. So he just gave it to me, and rather than use it for scrap metal, I thought it had some use left in it. I've got like a couple uses I could use it for, so I said sure, be willing to take it and see if I can put a little life into it. Should have done a video before I started of how it looked, and it was in pretty bad shape. It still needs some TLC on it, but scraped all the rust off I could get. Still got a little bit more to do, but the tires were absolutely gone on it, and the pump is locked up. It's either full of rust or one of the bearings is bad. There's like 2 or 3 bearings in there, and haven't gotten around to it yet. Had some welding done on it to solve some issues of rust and where it need patching. It's just, like I said, it's just a project. I'm not going to put a lot of money into it, and like I said, to see if I can bring it back to life. You don't see a lot of these little Honeywagons anymore. They're supersized. Operations just don't need something this small. But both tires had no tread on them, and in fact the one on this side just had a huge bald spot where the cord was showing through. And these are actually old aviation tires. They come off commercial airliners. These are 49 by 17s, and the one I took off, I believe it was this one over here on this side, it said TWA on it. But these are just old aviation. See, they got aviator written on them, if you can see that. But they're 49 by 17. While it was off, I painted the rims. Kind of got all the crud off of them, at least the best I could. At least it looks nicer that way. And they're 49 by 17, 26 ply. I think the ones I took off were 28. But I do have a tube in them. You don't use tubeless. I wouldn't anyhow on this. But the airlines with these tires, when they're about half life, they shelf them. They take them off the plane, go to something different. It's just not safe for takeoffs and landings. So these probably about $1,000, 900 bucks new. Fortunately, since I bought them used and they're half done, I got a way better deal than that. And that worked out pretty good. I knew I could get hold of some tires reasonable, and I knew I could get some patching done on the welding done. The pump will be my chore, and knowing I could get that stuff done and do it real reasonable is the reason I kind of took this project on. But it had a bad spot over here. Somebody like shot it with a gun, and that got patched up real good. The back here had some rust around it, and got that all patched up. They really did a good job on it. Didn't take them that long. It wasn't a major job for them. It would have been for me. And got my hinge here reconnected. It's got rust on the inside. I haven't, like I said, until I get the pump freed up and everything, she's just not going to be a functioning thing. But it works. Like I say, it's not perfect. It never will be again. But once I get everything fixed up, starting to get mold back on it again. Gotta get that scraped off. I've had it for a little bit, and rust and junk just don't take long to grow on them. My tire over here, like I said, she's in pretty decent shape now. This will be plenty good enough for what I'm going to use it for. And if it gets to the point that I just don't use it, I'll sell it to somebody who will use it. The dome up there was, I mean, it was almost non-existent. It was half rusted off. And it's one reason I didn't try to weld it myself. The fella I know who did it for me, he's just got all kinds of pipe, all different sizes. And he says, sure, he says, I got some pipe out there. And he cut a piece, took the old dome off basically and re-welded a new one on there, which is a lot faster and a lot better than I could have. He's got the talent, I don't. But I'll get you up there close so you can see. He does an awesome welding job. And on another day I'll need to take that top off, replace that pressure gauge, and just give her once over. I need to free this handle up, this rod, a little bit better so she works a little bit better, freer. This needs a little TLC. When I get everything done and I know she'll works right, I'll scrape it down really good and put a coat of paint or two on it. Like I said, this thing has sat outside for 30 years and the pump is locked up, but like I said, there is a bearing here and back here, and if I remember right, it's been about 45 years since I've seen one of these apart. In here there are veins, kind of like on the old iron windmills you see that pumped water and stuff on farms. What to move the air, where they called them veins. There's big flat pieces that catch the air and spin it. Has the same thing inside here, and this is froze up. I don't want to force it because I'll tear something up inside. But I've been spraying it and hopefully can free it up. But in the middle, this is negative pressure. But you move it to the front, I believe, and it draws air out of the unit and through there and out this pipe on this side. This is supposed to be a come out to an elbow and go up and have a cap on it. It's not there anymore, but I'll find something to fix that up better. But would draw through here, and this would catch any moisture that was coming with the air, so you don't get a lot of moisture into your system. Excuse me. But would draw the air, it would go down through there and air would be pumped out. So it created a vacuum in here, and your hose would be into the hog manure, and as you get more and more vacuum pressure, it would pull moisture up into the tank, the sludge of the manure, and fill it up. And once you got to where you're full, your sight gauge here on this one, you start to see manure, you've got enough, so you need to stop. So basically you shut the PTO off, you go back, you shut the back door like I did earlier, disconnect your hose, you come up here and you put this in neutral and equalize the pressure, and then your gauge would fall back to 0, and then you'd move it back over to this side, I believe, which is the pressure. And then when you run your pump, when you're out in the field, it sucks air in here, the air is runs through there, comes up here and goes back into it, which creates pressure. So you got vacuum one way, pressurize the other, and your gauge will start going up to 5 and 10, whatever. And when you get to about 10 pounds, you pull your lever, it opens your back door and it starts to spray the manure out the back, and you drive along and it sprays. And it's, I mean, it's not a very complex system. It's fairly easy to do. It's just everything's got to work right. And this, I believe, the one I ran a long time ago did not have this reservoir on it. We just had a gauge on the side that would put oil into there as it needed it. But I believe there is a bearing here and a bearing here, and there may be a bearing here and a double set of vanes. I just can't remember anymore. It's been so long since I had one of these apart. But it might be kind of interesting if I take it apart, and it looks like it is fairly interesting to work on. I'll bring the camera out and do a video on it, but that's going to be down the road. I got a couple other more pressing things I got to do. So as far as that goes, you know, I'm just showing you. I probably should, like my wife said, I should have done a video when I started, and you can just see all the rotten tires and the crummy rust all over it. But I think I may have some pictures of it, of the dome and everything beforehand. If I do, I'll post them on before the video starts so you can see the difference. The fellow did a fantastic job welding on it. He's just an old buddy, and he didn't charge me a lot. Not as much as some people would, but like I said, for now, this is about it. And coming along, but like I said, I got other priorities to work on. This is just a as I've got the time type of thing. There is a company I found that does sell parts for this, so I'll probably need a seal kit for it at least. And hopefully I don't find too much damage inside, because the shaft itself is probably expensive. If it's just the bearings and the vanes, you can purchase those. They're not too salty. And there is a little ball in here, so when you put pressure in there, that ball pops up there and helps seal it. That's part of it. I need to get the rat's nest or whatever out of there though. But I'll just discuss about it, you know, tell you about it. It's about 1,100 gallon. The one I got out of high school, I worked for a large hog operation, and they had a 1,500 gallon one, and I would run that about twice a week, about 8 loads a day, 8 or 9 loads a day, because we made that much manure. And you just, when the pits start to get full, you've got to put it someplace. So we would take it out and inject it in the ground, and leave about 5 acres or so to do that for till the wheat was harvested, and then we'd go in the wheat field and spread manure there, knife it in the ground. We'd do that all year long until the ground got froze, and then we'd put the sprayer attachment on the back and just spray it on top of the ground. That's all I mean, we had to get rid of the manure. And we did that for about 2 years, and he ended up getting rid of that 1,500 and getting a 3,200 gallon spreader, which made it a lot faster doing it. We still had to do it year round. It seemed like the pits didn't get any bigger, just a spreader. But really, this is the size I was looking for, because my tractor can handle it, my little Ford. Anything really much bigger than this, and I would have had a trouble, you know, trying to operate it and tow it around and use it. They pull pretty easy, and they can handle the weight. It's just the tractor. All the weight's kind of centered to the front, and you just need a bigger tractor. Probably, if I had gotten one much bigger, I would need a bigger tractor than what I got, and that's not viable for me. So like I said, I'll either fix it up and use it some, or end up getting rid of it, selling it to somebody who can use it. But I mean, it was sitting there amongst the trees and grass and weeds, and I mean, I just came across it driving down the road and saw it out there, and I thought it was beyond hope. But I went up and asked the fella, you know, would you be willing to let me go look at it and see if, you know, if I'd be interested in buying it? And he said, sure, go take a look. And I came up and told him what was wrong with it, and that unless he didn't, you know, really wanted to let it go cheap, I probably wasn't interested. And he said, if you were willing to go back there and cut the trees down and get it out, he said, you can just have it. And luckily I got the air, a little air in the tire, at least enough to get it back home. I had to tow it about 30 miles. But we got it back home, and like I said, I knew I could get some tires reasonable, and my friend did the welding, so far so good. But I'll probably do an update when I get the pump apart, maybe show some of that, or you know, as I work on it, just do another video. This is part one anyhow. So you folks have a good day.